Setting a layout using desktop publishing software is arguably the most important stage. You should know some basic things before creating your layout. Is the final layout designed for viewing on a screen? Is it for printing on an office or home printer? Or is it for a large-scale commercial print run? In these videos, we will assume designing for print. You should know the stock size of material you will be using. The most common formats are A5, A4, A3, A2 and A1. You should also know whether your layout will be landscape or portrait, and whether it will be a single page or multi-page document. You should also set margins, a grid structure, and guides for arranging your layout. This will help the design principle of alignment. We will be assuming a print designed for a commercial print run using offset lithography. Do not worry if you don't know what this term means. We will cover this type of printing in another video. Our print will require an edge-to-edge design. This means we must set a bleed area. This is an area of the layout that is cut away once the design is printed. This creates the edge-to-edge print look. It is crucial that no important aspects of the design, such as body text, are placed within the bleed area. We will now look at how to set this using our DTP software. In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at setting up a layout using Serif Page Plus X8. Other desktop publishing software is available. Also in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at setting the layout orientation, the layout size, margins, bleeds, guides, and grid structure. So when you start up your desktop publishing software, you're likely to be presented a default page. You'll also maybe have a default margin. In this case, we've got a blue line going round our page showing where the margin is. It's important to note that this margin will not print out, and we can see that from the thumbnail to the bottom right hand side of our screen. We can make this margin disappear by using the View drop-down menu and selecting Grids and Guides and turning off the guidelines. Or we can turn them back on using the same technique. Your desktop publishing software will have similar features and is likely to have a View drop-down menu, but you may have to look for this yourself. Now we want to set the page size and orientation. We can set publication setup, and we can choose a default size from a list. There are various formats from around the world. We can also override the size by setting the width and height manually and choosing whether the layout is in portrait or landscape. We can also select whether the layout is a folded publication for a multi-page document or whether it's a single page. We can also select the margins. In this case, we're going to select the margins and we're going to make the left margin 20mm, the right margin 20mm, the top margin 10mm and the bottom margin 10mm. If you're printing in a school, home or office, you may want to select your margins from your printer so that you do not put any of your layout work beyond an area where to be printed. And you can actually select the From Printer option and it will show you some defaults based upon the printer you've got installed in your computer. We're also going to set up the actual rows and column guides will help us frame out our document. We're going to use the rule of thirds. To do that, I'm going to select 3 rows and 3 columns, and I'm going to make the gap between these 5mm. And I want to select something called the bleed guides, and this is important if you're designing something for commercial print, as it's the area that we removed once the actual layout has been printed. Again, I'm going to set this to 5mm. But it should be noted that you should contact your local printworks or whoever's going to be printing your final layout to find out what size of bleed area they would prefer. Between 3 and 5mm is the most common. We now select OK, and we can see we've now got more lines on our page. We've got some dash lines, showing some grid lines to help us line things out and create the principle of alignment with our layout. We've also been given another dash line round outside, and this is our bleed area. If you're to zoom in, you're likely to have some sort of symbol to remind you that this area will be trimmed and removed once the actual layout is complete. So that is how we set up our document, ready for doing some graphic design work. Try this on your own desktop publishing software and set up a document ready to go. Well done.